Ladies and gentlemen, gather round for the tale of the most aggressively mediocre protagonist in Call of Duty history. We're talking about Jack Mitchell from Advanced Warfare. A character so bland, so utterly forgettable, that he makes vanilla ice cream look like a flavor explosion. This is the story of how Sledgehammer Games took Troy Baker, one of the most talented voice actors in the industry, and somehow managed to create a protagonist with all the personality of a Windows error message. The great character assassination of 2014. Let's start with the basics. Jack Mitchell is supposed to be our hero, our boots-on-the-ground tour guide through the shiny, futuristic world of Advanced Warfare. Instead, he's about as emotionally gripping as a tax form printed in Comic Sans. The game kicks off with what should be a brutal emotional hit. Mitchell loses his best friend, Will Irons, and his left arm during a botched military op. This should be character defining, right? Cue the heartbreak, the inner conflict, the emotional weight. Wrong. The so-called friendship between Mitchell and Will is about as believable as two NPCs pretending to bond before a tutorial mission. When Will dies, it doesn't feel like a loss. It feels like watching a stranger's funeral from across the street with binoculars while eating cereal. Their dialogue sounds like they're reading off separate teleprompters. At best, it's wooden. At worst, it's two robots trying to simulate human bonding. It's like the dev team said, they're best friends, okay? And moved on to designing explosions. And just when you think it couldn't get lazier, they gave Mitchell a big defining trait. A robot arm. That's it. That's the tweet. Apparently, someone in a boardroom said, "You know what screams depth? Prosthetics." And instead of giving him a personality to go with it, they slapped on the arm and called it a day. The Troy Baker tragedy. Here's where things go from disappointing to downright criminal. Sledgehammer somehow managed to get Troy Baker, the man behind Joel in The Last of Us, Booker in BioShock Infinite, and a dozen other iconic characters, and gave him absolutely nothing to work with. It's like hiring Gordon Ramsay to cook you dinner and only handing him 2 slices of stale bread and a packet of ketchup. The result isn't just bland, it's insulting. The most baffling part? Mitchell is completely silent during gameplay, but suddenly turns into a Shakespearean monologue machine during cutscenes. So for most of the game, you're playing a mute soldier with a gun. Then, between missions, he transforms into Chatty McBackstory. It's like having a roommate who only speaks during commercial breaks. Confusing and kind of unsettling. Perfectly. Mitchell is an emotionless vessel in gameplay, but somehow super chatty when his face is visible. That's not duality, that's design schizophrenia. And not even Troy Baker, a man who could voice a grocery list and make it Oscar-worthy, could save this walking cardboard cutout. But if you thought voicing a mute action figure was bad, wait till you see how Advanced Warfare tries to squeeze emotion out of a button prompt. Press F to pay respects to good writing. Now we arrive at the scene that somehow became more famous than the entire campaign. The moment that turned grief into a meme and Mitchell into a punchline. It's the funeral, Will's funeral. The developers clearly wanted it to be emotional, powerful, a moment of connection. Instead, we got the now legendary prompt, press F to pay respects. You're standing in front of a coffin. The music swells. The camera slowly pans in. And then the game politely interrupts your sadness to say, "Hey, press a key to look respectful." It was supposed to be heartfelt. Instead, it instantly became the most mocked moment in gaming history. Rather than making you feel Mitchell's pain, it made you laugh at how hard the game tried to force you into caring. It was emotional manipulation dressed up as a quick-time event. And nothing captures Mitchell better than that moment. Artificial, stiff, and desperately trying to mean something, but missing the mark entirely. The personality vacuum. Let's compare Jack Mitchell to the actual legends of Call of Duty. Captain Bryce, charismatic, mustached, and capable of commanding an entire revolution with just his stare. Soap McTavish. We watched him grow from wide-eyed rookie to hardened veteran. Ghost, iconic mask, mysterious vibe, unforgettable death. Alex Mason, the dude had brainwashing flashbacks and still had more depth than Mitchell ever does. And Jack Mitchell, he has a robot arm. And sometimes he's sad. Maybe. His dialogue is nothing but bland military filler. Roger that. Moving to position. We need to stop him. It's like someone ran a Call of Duty Protagonist generator and just hit default settings. He's not a character. He's a template. He doesn't have quirks. He doesn't have charm. He doesn't even have a memorable one-liner. Even the side characters outshine him. Gideon, his British squad mate, has more personality in his eyebrow than Mitchell has in his entire cybernetic bod. Fans didn't just prefer Gideon. They wanted him as the protagonist. And honestly, they were absolutely right. But wait, Mitchell's problems go deeper than personality, because even the story doesn't treat him like a real character. The Plops device masquerading as a character. Here's the thing about good protagonists. They're supposed to do things, make choices, drive the story forward, change the world around them. Jack Mitchell doesn't do any of that. Stuff just happens to him. Jonathan Irons recruits him. Ilona reveals the evil plan. The rest? Mitchell just follows along like a lost intern on his first day. He's not the driver of the story. He's a very expensive Uber ride through the plot. Even when he has a big moment, it's passive. The final confrontation with Irons, you go choose how it ends. You just rip off your malfunctioning robot arm in a quick time event. That's not character growth. That's a tech issue with dramatic music. Mitchell isn't leading the story. The story is dragging him by the collar. And half the time, he doesn't even look that interested in being there. But don't worry, we're not done yet. Because next, we'll look at the open combat feature that was supposed to be revolutionary, and somehow made Mitchell look even more generic. Advanced Warfare promised new open combat missions. It sounded exciting on paper. Freedom, strategy, multiple paths. But what we actually got was go to 3 locations, shoot bad guys, repeat. That's it. These missions didn't showcase creativity. They exposed how utterly generic Mitchell really is. You could replace him with a toaster strapped to a drone, and it would play out the same. The fancy exosuit abilities, they weren't special to Mitchell. Any random soldier could double jump and go invisible. There was nothing unique about how he used them. No clever tactics, no personal twist. He's just a dude wearing a suit that does all the heavy lifting, literally. The worst part? These gameplay gimmicks were supposed to make Mitchell stand out. Instead, they made it painfully clear how little he mattered. And just when you think it can't get any more hollow, it does. Because next, we enter the emotional void that is Jack Mitchell's soul. Or rather, the lack of one. The emotional black hole. The most damning thing about Jack Mitchell, he doesn't make you feel anything. When other Call of Duty protagonists are in danger, you care. You feel tension. You cheer when they survive. You mourn when they die. Remember Soap's death? That hurt. Even Ghost's betrayal left players reeling. But Mitchell? When he's in trouble, the player's emotional response is basically, eh. When he wins, it's not satisfying. It's just the next cutscene. If he had died at the end of the campaign, people would have said, well, okay. The game tries hard to manufacture emotion. Tragic losses, betrayal, funeral scenes, all the prolatic beats are there. But none of it lands. Because Mitchell himself is emotionally flat. He reacts to everything with the same dead stare, like he's permanently sedated. It's not stoicism, it's narrative Novocaine. The comparison game. Let's play a fun game. Quick, name one memorable Jack Mitchell moment. Exactly. You can't. Now, try Price. Check those corners. Or Mason, the numbers Mason. Ghost, that mask. Soap, his entire arc. These are characters you remember. Mitchell is the guy you forgot existed until this video reminded you. His most iconic moment is literally a meme. Press F to pay respects. That's not just a meme, it's his legacy. He didn't get character development, he got character deletion. The wasted potential. And that's the part that stings the most. It was all there. A soldier with a prosthetic arm in a high-tech battlefield. That's rich storytelling material. Themes of identity, loss, resilience. A man torn between loyalty to a dead friend's father and doing what's right. That could have been emotionally explosive. They could have explored the ethics of private military companies, the cost of war, the human price of technological power. Instead, we got Beige McRobot-Arm, generic Soldier 47. They had all the ingredients and still managed to burn the toast. The final verdict. Jack Mitchell isn't just forgettable. He's a masterclass in missed opportunities. He's the blank slate nobody asked for. The mannequin with $1 million voice. In a franchise full of legends, Mitchell is the elevator music. There, but I barely noticed. So here's to Jack Mitchell, the man who turned Press F into the most ironic tribute in gaming history. In the Great Hall of Call of Duty icons, he'll be remembered only as the guy we forgot. Press F to pay respects, to write good character writing.